It was a Thursday. I remember, because Thursdays meant spaghetti. Dad had this rule. Every Thursday, we had to sit down for spaghetti. It was our tradition. But that Thursday was different. Mom left that day, and everything changed. Dad came in later than usual. I was already at the table, staring at my cold spaghetti, wondering why he was late. When he walked in, I could tell something was wrong. His face was red, like he'd been crying. I'd never seen him like this before. "Anna," he said, his voice trembling, "we need to talk." I felt a knot in my stomach, like something terrible was about to happen. "What's wrong, Dad?" I asked, trying to sound brave, but my voice was shaky. He didn't sit. Instead, he paced back and forth, searching for the right words. Finally, he stopped, looked at me, and said, "It's your mom. She's not coming back." I didn't understand. Not coming back from where? It was spaghetti night. Where else would she be? "She left us for someone else," Dad said. The words hit me hard. Mom was gone. Why? Dad's voice broke. I didn't understand it either, but she made her choice and we have to deal with it. I was angry and sad, and I couldn't even know what to feel. Did she even say goodbye? Did she stop loving us? Dad sat next to me and hugged me. "I'm sure she loves you, Anna, but sometimes people make choices that hurt others. It's not fair, but it happens." I pushed him away, feeling a surge of anger. "I hate her," I yelled, not really meaning it, but maybe I did. Dad sighed and wiped his eyes. "I know. It's okay to be mad, but we'll get through this together." The rest of the evening was a blur. I didn't eat my spaghetti. How could I? Spaghetti night was ruined, and so was everything else. That night, I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, thinking about Mom. Why did she leave? Didn't she care about us? Dad was hurting. I was hurting. It felt like she didn't care at all. It was the first time I realized people you trust can break your heart. As much as I wanted to hate her, I just wanted to understand why she left and if she ever thought about us. But those questions could wait. For now, I had to keep moving forward with Dad by my side. Then Sarah came into our lives, like an unexpected twist that turns out to be a great addition. When Dad first told me about Sarah, I was skeptical. We were doing dishes, and he seemed unusually nervous. "Anna, I've been seeing someone," he blurted out, almost dropping a plate. I froze, soap dripping from my hand. "What? Who?" I didn't know whether to feel angry or curious. "Her name's Sarah. She's really wonderful, Anna. I think you'll like her," he said, avoiding my gaze. I didn't say much, just nodded and continued with the dishes, but inside I was a mess of thoughts. Another woman. Was she trying to replace Mom? I wasn't ready for that. When I met Sarah for the first time, I was guarded. She came over for dinner, clearly nervous, which made me feel a bit better. She wasn't acting like she owned the place. "Hi, Anna. I've heard so much about you," she said, offering a genuinely warm smile. "Yes, all good things, I hope," I replied, trying to sound tough but probably coming off as awkward. The conversation was a bit stilted at first. Dad tried to fill the silence, but then Sarah mentioned a band I loved too. That broke the ice, and soon we were chatting like old friends. Sarah quickly became a part of our lives. She moved in a few months later, and it just felt right, like she was meant to be there. One day, after Sarah had moved in, I came home fuming from school. Kids had been making fun of me for not having a mom, and I'd had enough. I slammed the door and threw my backpack against the wall. Sarah rushed in, looking concerned. "What's wrong, Anna?" she asked, kneeling to be on my level. "Nothing. Just leave me alone." I snapped, not really meaning it. I was just so mad. Sarah didn't back off. "It doesn't look like nothing. Want to talk about it?" I hesitated, then let it all out. The kids at school, missing Mom, and the constant anger. Sarah just listened, her expression gentle. When I finished, she hugged me, not trying to replace Mom, but showing she was there for me. That meant everything. Anna, I'll never try to take your mom's place, but I'm here for you, as a friend, as family, whatever you need. I nodded, wiping away tears. Thanks, I said softly. From then on, Sarah wasn't just Dad's girlfriend or the woman living with us. She became part of our family. She helped me with homework, listened to my teenage rants, and even taught me how to apply eyeliner properly. She brought laughter and love into our home, things I didn't realize I'd missed so much. One evening, while we were watching a movie, I saw Sarah and Dad laughing on the couch. It hit me how much things had changed and improved. Thanks, Sarah, I whispered, hoping she'd hear me. For what? She asked, turning with a smile. For everything, I said, meaning it. Sarah squeezed my hand and turned back to the movie. That moment made it clear. Sarah was family. College was a whole new world. I moved onto campus studying economics because it seemed like a solid choice. I called Dad and Sarah every Sunday, sharing both the mundane and exciting details. They were my rock, my safety net amid the whirlwind of new experiences. One evening, while cramming for midterms with my roommate Mary, my phone rang. Seeing Dad's ID, I expected a routine check-in. Hey, Dad, what's up? I answered, trying to sound calm. But it wasn't Dad. Anna, you need to come home. It's your dad. He had a heart attack. My world stopped. What? Is he okay? Tell me he's okay. Sarah's silence was too long. He didn't make it, Anna. I'm so sorry. The phone nearly slipped from my hand. Mary's concerned face blurred as I choked out, Dad's gone. The next few days were a blur of tears, travel, and awful coffee. The funeral felt surreal, like I was watching someone else's life fall apart. Dad was gone. Just like that. No warnings, no goodbyes. After the crowd of sympathetic faces had left, Sarah and I sat in the living room, surrounded by silence. I can't believe he's gone, I whispered, the words heavy. Sarah put her arm around me. I know, kiddo. It's going to be tough, but we'll get through this together. How, Sarah? How do we do this without him? I asked, tears coming again. We remember him. We keep living because that's what he would have wanted. And we take care of each other. Going back to college was hard. I wanted to drop out, come home, and stay with Sarah in the big empty house. But I knew that wasn't what Dad would have wanted. Go back, Anna, Sarah said when I mentioned it. Finish what you started. Make your dad proud. But what about you? I asked, feeling conflicted. I'll be fine. I'll be here when you come back. Always. So I went back. Mary, bless her, had turned our dorm room into a comforting haven when I returned. She didn't say much, just hugged me tight and let me be. It was exactly what I needed. Classes were a struggle. I couldn't focus and my motivation was low. I remember sitting in a lecture, staring blankly at the professor as their words felt like a foreign language. After class, my professor, Dr. Henderson, pulled me aside. Anna, is everything okay? Your participation has dropped significantly. I shrugged, the weight of grief making it hard to explain. It's my dad. He passed away. Dr. Henderson's expression softened. I'm so sorry to hear that, Anna. If you need anything, extensions or someone to talk to, my door is always open. Thanks, I mumbled, grateful but too numb to really feel it. That's how it went for a while. Just going through the motions, barely keeping afloat. But slowly, with support from Sarah, Mary, and even Dr. Henderson, things started to get a bit easier. Not better, but less impossible. By the end of the semester, I'd managed to pull my grades up and secure a decent GPA. It felt hollow without Dad to celebrate with me, but I knew he would be proud somewhere, and that thought gave me strength. Time flew by, and at 27, I had my own place and a career that was going somewhere. Bosses liked me, work was steady, and I felt like I had a handle on things. On a rare Saturday with no plans, I was ready to chill and binge-watch something. Then the doorbell rang, cutting through my lazy morning. I wasn't expecting anyone, probably a forgotten package or a neighbor starting small talk I wasn't in the mood for. When I opened the door, I was shocked to see my mom standing there. She looked different. Years and hard living had left her worn and rough around the edges. "What are you doing here?" I asked, my shock evident. Her eyes filled with tears, and she looked like she was about to break down. "I wanted to see you, Anna. It's been too long." Too long was an understatement. Years of silence, and now she shows up. Why now, after all this time? My voice was sharp, and I wasn't about to soften it. She wiped her eyes, taking a shaky breath. "I've always wanted to fix things between us. Your dad and Sarah wouldn't let me get close." That made me frown. "Come on, you expect me to believe that? Why didn't you reach out when I turned 18? I wasn't under their control then." Her excuse seemed rehearsed. "I was sick, Anna. Really sick. It took me a long time to get better, and when I did, I knew I had to try to connect with you, even if it was late." The conversation felt awkward and messy. Part of me wanted to slam the door, but another part, one I wasn't ready to admit, wanted to hear her out. Maybe it was curiosity, maybe something else. We talked, or rather, danced around the years of silence, each of us avoiding the real issues. Then, without warning, she said she had to go. Just like that, she left, leaving me with a storm of thoughts and no clear answers. The door clicked shut behind her, and I stood there, feeling a confusing mix of anger, sadness, and other emotions I couldn't name. She had her chance to explain, and all I got were excuses. Her visit had opened something I thought I had buried long ago. After Mom's unexpected visit, my head was a mess, buzzing with a million thoughts and no clear answers. I needed some clarity. There was only one person who could offer that: Sarah. I drove over to her place, the one she had moved into after Dad passed. It was a cozy house filled with warmth and memories, a sharp contrast to the confusion I felt. I knocked on the door, and Sarah answered with her usual welcoming smile, though it faltered when she saw my face. "Anna, what's wrong?" she asked, letting me in. I didn't even know where to start. "Mom showed up at my place today," I said as we settled in her living room, each with a cup of tea. Sarah's eyebrows shot up. "Your mom? After all these years?" "Yes," and she had a lot to say, mostly excuses. I sipped my tea, struggling to meet her gaze. "What did she say?" Sarah asked, her voice calm but tense. "She said you and Dad kept her away from me, that she was sick and couldn't reach out until now." The words tasted bitter as I relayed Mom's version of events. Sarah shook her head in disbelief. "Anna, that's not true. You know that. Your dad and I never stopped her from reaching out. She made her own choices." I knew it deep down, but hearing Mom's story stirred up doubts. Part of me wanted to believe there was a good reason for her leaving. Sarah reached over, squeezed my hand. "It's natural to want to find some good in her reasons, but you can't let her rewrite the past. You know what happened?" "Yeah, I do," I sighed, feeling a bit foolish. "She also said she was sick. We never knew if she was," Sarah said gently. "But even if she was, it doesn't change the years of silence. It doesn't excuse everything." Slowly, clarity began to cut through my emotional fog. Sarah had a way of making things make sense. She also talked about wanting to start over, to have some kind of relationship. Sarah's expression grew cautious. "Anna, people don't change overnight. If you let her back in, be careful. Protect yourself." Her words were a reminder of the pain that had taken so long to heal. "I don't even know if I want her in my life," I admitted, feeling overwhelmed. "Whatever you decide, I'm here for you. Just remember who she was and who she's been all these years." Sarah's advice was like a lighthouse guiding me through stormy seas. "I will. Thanks, Sarah." I meant it. Her perspective was a tether to reality when I felt adrift. After Mom's visit, she started coming by more often. At first, it was nice, catching up, exploring the mother-daughter bond we never had. But then things changed. It wasn't just coffee and small talk anymore. She started hinting at needing money, first for a doctor's bill, then for some rehab she claimed was for her illness recovery. Each time, she piled on the affection, something I wasn't used to from her. Despite Sarah's earlier warnings, I found myself unable to say no. Maybe it was guilt, or maybe I just missed that maternal affection. Then she hit me with a real shocker. Out of nowhere, she said, "I found this great apartment right next to yours. Wouldn't it be wonderful to be neighbors?" I thought it sounded nice until she dropped the bombshell. She wanted me to pay the entire year's rent up front, which came to 24 grand. I nearly choked on my coffee. "You what? That's a lot of money, Mom." She played the hurt card like a pro. "I thought you'd want to help your mother," she said, sounding wounded. "I do, but that's a lot. I need to think about it," I stammered, feeling blindsided. She didn't take it well, got all huffy, and stormed out. I felt like the worst daughter ever for not immediately handing over the cash. I needed advice from someone who wasn't involved. Naturally, I called Sarah. "Hey," I said, jumping straight in. "Mom asked me to pay a year's rent for her minus 24K. What do I do?" Sarah's response was immediate, filled with concern and frustration. "Anna, are you serious? After everything, you're considering this?" I sighed, running a hand through my hair. "I don't know, Sarah. She's my mom. She's also the woman who left you and your dad. You don't owe her anything," Sarah said sharply. Her words stung, but she was right. Still, I couldn't shake the desire for a real relationship with my mom, even if it meant paying for it. Against my better judgment, I agreed to Mom's request. But I wasn't completely naive. I made sure my name was on the lease, just in case things went wrong. When I told Sarah, there was a long silence on the line. "Anna, I hope you know what you're doing," she finally said, her voice heavy with concern. "Yeah, me too," I replied, though I had no idea what I was doing. But there was no turning back now. I'd made my choice and hoped it wouldn't come back to haunt me. A week after the apartment fiasco, I decided a surprise housewarming might help smooth things over. Maybe it would show Mom that I was making an effort to bridge the gap between us. So there I was, outside her door, ready to surprise her, when I overheard something that stopped me cold. Mom was inside, boasting to her new friends about how she tricked me into paying for her apartment for a year. "Can you believe it? My daughter paid for this place for a whole year. She's as foolish as her old man was," she laughed. My heart dropped. I felt a rush of disbelief and anger, but I pushed the door open and walked in before I could second-guess myself. Inside, the scene was exactly what I expected. Drunken strangers cluttering the living room, with Mom holding court. The room went silent as everyone turned to look at me, the target of her mockery. Mom's surprise quickly turned to a sneer. "Look who decided to show up. Come to see what your generosity bought." Her friends chuckled, treating me like a punchline. I was boiling inside but kept my composure, forcing a smile. "Actually, I came to share some interesting news about the rent," I said. Mom's smirk grew wider. "Oh yeah? What's that?" I pulled out the rental agreement, holding it up like a victory flag. "I only paid for a month, not a year." The room went silent. Mom's face went pale as she realized her deception had been exposed. Her friends began to retreat, confusion replacing their laughter. Without waiting for her to come up with an excuse, I turned and walked out, leaving her to deal with the fallout. As I left, her angry shouts followed me, but they didn't bother me. I felt lighter, as if I'd finally shed a burden I hadn't fully recognized. After confronting Mom, I headed straight to Sarah. I needed her perspective on the chaos. Before I could say much, Mom stormed in, threatening to sue me for every penny I had and demanding lifelong support as if years of neglect could be erased with money. Sarah, instead of getting angry, just laughed. One of those incredulous laughs. "You're going to sue? Really?" Her amazement was clear. Mom kept shouting about rights and money until Sarah pulled out a stack of papers from a drawer. "These rights?" Sarah asked, showing documents that proved Mom had abandoned her parental duties long ago. Mom's face went from fiery to deflate in an instant. 2 weeks later, news broke that Mom had been kicked out of the apartment. She refused to leave, and the cops had to get involved. She showed up at my place next, banging on the door and making threats through it. I'd had enough. I yelled back, "Knock it off, or I'm calling the cops." It worked. She left and hasn't shown up since. Sitting there after she'd gone, I realized I was finally free from her threats, manipulations, and the weight of her expectations. For the first time in a long time, I could breathe easy.
Hello everyone, I'm Lisa. My story revolves around my husband, who tried to leave me because I wasn't wealthy enough for him. You might be wondering why. Well, it's not because I suddenly lost my job or made any financial blunders. It's simply that I never went to college, so I didn't have a high-paying job. I had a decent income, and my husband Rick knew this from the start. I never hid anything from him. Rick, on the other hand, had a high income but was burdened with student loans from college. So our lifestyles were actually quite similar. Initially, Rick didn't see this as a problem, and our relationship progressed smoothly until we decided to get married. Just before the wedding, Rick asked for a prenup. He said that, given his high-paying job, he feared being used for his money and didn't want me to be burdened with his loans. I felt a bit disrespected by his lack of trust, but I agreed to the prenup, and thank God I did. It saved me later. Our marital troubles began when we lost our place to live. Our landlord informed us he was selling the house, and with the housing market in our city being terrible, we had no choice but to move in with Rick's mother, Natalie. Now let me clarify, my husband is the main issue here. Natalie was a cold woman who didn't care much about me, but she wasn't one of those nasty mother-in-laws you hear about. She was just annoyed to host us for free, which sometimes made her behavior a bit difficult, but we managed. After moving in with Natalie, Rick began resenting the fact that I couldn't contribute to buying a house. Because of his student loans, he couldn't qualify for a mortgage, and I didn't have enough for a down payment. We were stuck in a tough spot with limited housing options. Despite this, we had a decent life until Natalie dropped a bombshell on us. One day, she told us we needed to find other accommodations because she could no longer keep up with her mortgage payments and had decided to sell the house. "Why, Mom? What's the problem?" Rick asked. "I can't keep up with my mortgage payments anymore, so I have to sell the house," she explained. "You need to find another place to live." "But we have nowhere to go, Mom. We can't afford rent with the money we have," Rick pleaded. "That's not my problem, Rick. Since you two can't help me with the mortgage, I have to sell. I'm giving you plenty of time to come up with a solution." Natalie left us to fend for ourselves, saying we didn't need to move out immediately but would need to once she found a buyer. Rick and I were panicking about our housing situation. That night, he lashed out at me, blaming me for our troubles. "Why can't you get a better job? You earn so little." "It's not enough for us," he said. "What can I do, Rick?" "I don't have a college degree, so this is the best I can do," I replied. "You don't even have enough savings for a down payment on a house. If you weren't so lazy, you could have worked 2 jobs and saved the money." "I can't work 2 jobs, Rick. I have to handle everything around the house because you don't help." "It's not my job to help, Lisa. We have a roof over our heads because of me, and now even that will be gone. I don't know what I was thinking when I married you." Rick's words cut deep, and I started to cry. We had a big fight but calmed down the next day. I knew he was stressed, so I set aside my own emotions and started forming a plan. I had a small investment I could cash out to provide a down payment on a house. After talking to some friends, I found out I could qualify for a mortgage. Once I realized that, I began to form a plan. I decided to buy Natalie's house. I discovered her asking price and realized I could afford the mortgage. Despite my inexperience, I was confident in my finances and decided to approach Natalie with an offer. I contacted her agent and set up a meeting, wanting to surprise Rick, so I didn't tell Natalie directly. At the cafe, Natalie was surprised to see me. "Hey, Lisa. What are you doing here?" "I'm here to meet an interested buyer for my house." Yes, I know that, Natalie. I am your interested buyer. Wait, what? She asked, looking at me like I had grown two heads. You want to buy my house? Yes, I do, I replied calmly. I've managed to save up for a down payment and will take a mortgage for the rest. It won't be a problem. You can continue living here rent-free as a thank you for helping us when we needed it. But I don't think you can afford it, she said, skeptical. I have a good credit score, so I can easily qualify for a loan. Rick can't because his debts have crippled him. I'm the only one in a position to buy a house. Wouldn't you be happier if the house stayed within the family? Yes, that is true, Liza. I guess it would be better if I sold it to you. Think about it, Natalie. You need the money, and I need a house. It's the best deal for both of us. All you have to do is agree to sign everything over to me, and I'll take care of the rest. Okay, let me think about it, she said. Sure, but I have one request. Can you not tell Rick about this? I want to surprise him with the house on our first anniversary. I see. Okay then, I won't tell him. I'll get back to you once I've thought about your offer. Natalie went back home while I headed to work, feeling excited about the prospect of buying her house. Rick loved his mom's house because it was spacious and comfortable, and I was sure he would appreciate what I was doing. Even if he didn't, he could buy another house once his credit improved. Our separate assets and the prenup ensured that he had that option. I continued with my routine, eagerly awaiting Natalie's decision. Things were normal for a few days, though Rick seemed even more distant than before. I knew he was stressed about our living situation, which likely contributed to his mood. I tried to comfort him and offer hope, but he just got angry and told me to leave him alone. Hurt, I chose not to argue and held on to the hope that everything would improve once I secured Natalie's house. Even if she said no, I was determined to find another house for us. Then everything changed when I stumbled across some papers. You can guess where this is going. They were divorce papers. I was in complete disbelief as I read through them, confirming they were meant for me. Rick had hidden them in his office bag, which I had opened to retrieve his lunchbox. Shocked and hurt, I didn't confront Rick immediately. Instead, I decided to snoop through his phone, suspecting he might be having an affair. Desperate for answers, I found texts between him and his best friend. The things he wrote about me were awful. He called me useless, lazy, and a bad wife, all because I wasn't wealthy enough to buy him a house. Apparently, some rich girl had been flirting with him on Facebook, making him believe he could do better. Realizing my marriage was over, I knew I wouldn't leave silently. I wanted to make Rick pay for his actions. That day, I thanked God for making me sign a prenup. It had saved me more than it had saved Rick. The next day, Natalie secretly met with me and agreed to sell the house. I thought about it, Liza. You're the best option right now. I can't make next month's mortgage payments, so you need to take over it as soon as possible, she said. Sure, Natalie. You can draw up the papers and I'll get a lawyer right away. I don't want to wait either. Our anniversary is only a few weeks away. Yeah, I remember. That's why I made the decision quickly. I've already told my lawyer to prepare the papers. You'll have them soon. And just like that, I bought Natalie's house. It was a great house, and I wanted to get back at Rick for what he was planning to do. I had plans of my own that would make him regret his actions. I was breaking inside because the man I loved was planning to betray me in the worst way possible. But I didn't let it show. Rick didn't bother to care. He had already checked out of the marriage and was enjoying the attention of the rich girl on Facebook. I slowly stopped caring, waiting for the house papers to be signed. Once that was done, I simply wanted my revenge and to rid myself of my horrible husband as soon as possible. Thankfully, I was able to get the house in my name before our anniversary. On that day, I didn't bother with any celebrations. I didn't want to waste money on a failing marriage. While some might arrange parties and confront their husbands publicly, I couldn't afford to spend any extra after putting all my money into the down payment for the house. So I treated it like a normal day. I wished Rick a happy anniversary, but he grumbled something in return and left. The confrontation didn't happen until the evening when we both returned home from work. To my surprise, Natalie had invited a few family members to celebrate our anniversary. I guess she was feeling generous after receiving money for the house. She cooked some food and looked genuinely excited for us. I was touched by this gesture, but Rick immediately got angry. What is this? What's going on? He snapped. I just invited family so we could celebrate your anniversary today. It is your first anniversary after all. I saw that you two didn't plan anything, Natalie explained. That wasn't necessary, Mom. Lisa didn't plan anything because she never has money, and I didn't plan anything because I'm not interested in celebrating our anniversary. This marriage has come to an end anyway, Rick retorted. What do you mean, Rick? Why are you saying that your marriage has come to an end? Natalie asked, confused. Rick ignored his mother and turned to me, looking me dead in the eyes. I knew this was when he would tell me he was leaving, and I was right. I don't think I can be in this marriage anymore, Lisa. I'm going to leave you forever, Rick declared. Why, Rick? You can't just drop news like this on me and not tell me why, I demanded. The reason is very simple, Lisa. You are an absolutely useless wife to me, he said coldly. Oh really, Rick? Tell me why you think I'm useless. You are not on my level, Lisa. I have a great job, and you are just an embarrassment to me. You can't even help me buy a house. I don't want to be with someone who can't help me get the things I need, he sneered. It's not my fault your credit is bad, Rick. Why should it fall on me to get a house? I retorted. Because we're a couple. I knew you weren't rich, but I thought maybe you would be able to buy me a house at least. Now I don't even think you'll qualify for a loan. I can't stay with a woman like that when I can do so much better. I will at least find a woman who has the means to have her own house, Rick replied. So you're leaving me because I'm not rich enough for you, is that it? Yes. I don't care what you think, Lisa. Don't try to stop me. I won't be with you. I'm done. Very well then, Rick. If that's what you think, go ahead and leave. I will happily grant you a divorce. Good. You need to move out soon then, because this isn't your house. Mom, you need to tell her to leave and find her own place, Rick said, turning to his mother. Rick expected Natalie to agree to kick me out, but he hadn't anticipated her reaction. She looked pale and startled, shaking because she knew exactly how much Rick had messed up. She was the only one who knew that I had bought her house a week earlier. The papers had been finalized, and now I was the sole owner of the house. So despite Rick's demands, Natalie couldn't kick me out. Natalie remained quiet, not saying anything at first. Rick kept insisting she needed to tell me to leave, and that's when I spoke up. I think you're barking up the wrong tree, Rick. Natalie cannot actually kick me out. Why the hell not, Lisa? This is her house, so she can kick you out. No, Rick, it's not her house anymore. It's mine. I bought it from her last week. I am the sole owner of this house now, I revealed, watching the color drain from Rick's face. Actually, you're wrong about that, Rick. This house doesn't belong to her anymore. What do you mean? My mother is the owner of this house. Nope, she's not the owner anymore. I am the new owner of this place. What nonsense are you spewing, Lisa? This cannot be your house. It is my house, Rick. If you don't believe me, why don't you ask your mother? Mom, what nonsense is Lisa saying? Did you give her this house or something? Natalie looked too afraid to say anything. She remained frozen while the rest of the guests looked on. Rick was absolutely sure that the house was in no way mine, so he kept hounding his mother for an answer. After a while, Natalie meekly said, Yes, it's true. This house is hers now. No, that cannot be possible. Did you suddenly grow charitable and give away the house to Lisa, Mom? No, Rick. I don't need anyone's charity. I bought the house all by myself. I don't believe it. You cannot afford this house. You cannot even afford the down payment. What would you like to say to that, Natalie? You're wrong, Rick. Lisa has actually bought the house from me. We finalized the papers last week, and she was planning to surprise you today with the news, but it looks like you have ruined it. Natalie confirmed what I had told Rick, and his eyes went wide with shock. He couldn't believe that I was able to save up and buy the house. He had clearly underestimated me and was proven wrong. When the realization dawned on him, he immediately tried to change his tune. Oh wow, that was a great surprise, Lisa. I didn't know that you were saving and planning on buying Mom's house. I can see that, Rick. Natalie's right though. You have completely ruined my surprise. No, we can still celebrate. Celebrate what, Rick? Our divorce or your exit from my house. What are you saying, Lisa? You wanted a divorce, right? You will get it. I won't be in a marriage where my husband wants to leave me because I'm not rich. Come on, Lisa. I was mad and said some stupid things. We can talk about this and get past it. The main problem has been solved already. I don't think so, Rick. Besides, you went through all the hassle of secretly securing divorce papers. Too bad I found them out 2 weeks ago and prepared my own papers instead. Rick looked on while I drew some papers out of my work bag. I handed them to him, and he started to see what they were about. He was not happy when he saw that they were eviction papers. His hands shook, and he looked at me with tears in his eyes. Are these eviction papers? I thought you read what these papers are, Rick. Since you have a hard time reading simple English, let me confirm it for you. Yes, they are eviction papers for you and Natalie. You're kicking us out, Lisa. But where will we go? Don't do this, Lisa. Let's work this out. Don't make me laugh. Rick, you want to go find a rich girl, right? Get on with it. I'm sure she'll have a place for you to stay. I said things out of anger, Lisa. Please don't hold it against me. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize that you were working hard to get us a house. Nope. This is my house, Rick. You have no claim to it. Now that we are divorcing, we got a prenup, remember? Thanks for that. Now I have a house to myself while getting rid of a horrible husband like you. I said what I had to say and remained quiet. Rick absolutely went mad in panic and started to beg me to forgive him. He started to tell me how much he loved me and knew that he had messed up. Suddenly, staying with a no-rich girl was appearing lucrative to him. He was begging me to stay with him when a few days ago he was preparing for a divorce. He even made a show of tearing up the divorce papers in front of me. I simply laughed and told him that I could always file them myself, and that made him cry and fall down on the floor to beg for mercy. Natalie also joined her son in trying to convince me. To her, I was no longer an annoyance. She was really banking on the fact that I had offered to let her stay in the house rent-free. But now that her son and I were divorcing, that wasn't happening. I even prepared eviction papers in her name so that she could not throw a tantrum. I got them done on the day the house was transferred to my name. Natalie knew that the only way for her to live anywhere rent-free was to beg me to stay married to her son. But sadly for both Rick and Natalie, their wishes weren't coming true. In the next few days, Natalie and Rick continued to pester me to forgive Rick. Since family members were present when everything happened, they knew the truth about Rick. No one was willing to take them in after that. They even berated Rick for being such an evil man and left the little get-together early. Now that Rick's own family had turned their backs on him, he begged me for mercy, but he wasn't going to get any. I simply ignored them and kept reminding them that they had a month to move out. Rick and I got divorced, no matter how hard he tried to stop it, and Natalie and Rick had to move out of my house once their 1-month grace period was up. They tried their best to convince me, but I wasn't moved. Rick and I went for a mutual divorce because Rick couldn't afford to contest me in court. Since we had a prenup, the divorce was fairly smooth. I kept the house and got no alimony. Rick kept his debts but ended up homeless. He and his mother had to get an apartment together to save money. From what I have heard, neither of them is doing very well. I don't have any pity for Rick, but sometimes I feel bad for Natalie, who isn't as bad as him. Anyway, I have a house now and can finally live a good life without having a husband who constantly demeans me. My name is Daisy, and I'm 26 years old. My story is something I'd never have guessed could happen in real life. The kind of thing you'd expect to see only in movies. Sometimes you have to get unlucky in life to get lucky. Let me start by introducing my ex-husband, Ezra. Ezra and I met in an unusual way. I was out with my friends having a good time at a restaurant, and Ezra was our waiter. I found him really cute, and one of my friends, thanks to a bit too much alcohol, decided to let Ezra know that I was interested. Ezra grabbed my number, and we started getting to know each other better. It turned out there was more to Ezra's story. He had a single mom, Karen, and they were both working like crazy, juggling all sorts of jobs just to make ends meet. But you know what? I didn't judge him based on that. I admired him and his mom for their hard work and determination. They were making it work against the odds. Things moved pretty fast, and within a year of dating, we decided to get married. Maybe it seemed a bit quick, but Ezra treated me like a princess with all he had, and Karen was nothing but sweet to me. Even my parents gave us their blessings. Looking back now, I wish I could have seen it sooner. It all seemed too good to be true. Ezra used to live with his mom, but shortly after our wedding, we found our own apartment, financed with my money. At the time, I didn't have an issue with it. We were a team. Ezra was still working as a waiter while juggling various side gigs. Both of us chipped in for our household expenses. Admittedly, I contributed a bit more, but as long as he was trying his best, it didn't matter to me. I spent most of my time at home since my job allowed remote work, while Ezra headed to work, sometimes even on weekends. One day, Ezra came up to me and said he wanted to talk about something. "Hey babe, can we talk about something?" "Of course, what's up?" "You know, my mom's been having a tougher time lately. She's getting older, and managing the household by herself has become harder for her." "Oh yeah, poor Karen." "Yeah, I mean she's struggling with a few things, bills and all. I was thinking, would it be possible for you to send her some money? You know I'm saving up for the business." "Well yeah, how much are we talking about?" "Not too much, just to help her out, maybe $600 for now." "Yeah, absolutely. Initially, I thought it was a one-time thing. Sending over $600 wasn't a major concern, so I went ahead and transferred the money into her bank account. But then I realized this was just the tip of the iceberg. Karen started asking for money way more frequently, groceries, electricity bills, you name it. If there was an expense, she'd reach out for cash. I was her emergency contact when she needed to go to the flea market because she would make me pay for it. She even began taking me to stores like Target to buy appliances and stuff for her home. She started buying things she didn't even need. It was getting seriously out of hand. I brought this up with Ezra, hoping he would say something to Karen, but he explained that he found it hard to say no to his mom. The problem was that I was essentially taking care of two households. I had my own financial goals, like saving up for a house or maybe a new car down the line. The need to save was crucial, so I had to make a move. I called Karen up. "Hey Karen, how are you?" "I'm very well, dear. I was just watering the herb pots in the kitchen, you know." "Yeah, it's important to keep them all fresh. Tell me about yourself. When are you coming to see me? I've been missing you. We could go have a day out and have some fun." "About that, I've been meaning to talk to you about something, Karen." "Yes, my darling, what is it?" "So I've been helping out with money, you know, covering groceries and bills, but to be honest, I can't keep doing that anymore." "Wait, what? Does Ezra know about this? He's the one who asked you to help me out." "Yeah, I get that, but I also have to think about my future, like saving up for stuff, you know." "Seriously, so now my needs do not matter. Asking for help isn't exactly fun for me either, Karen." "It's not like that. I'm not saying your needs don't matter, but I can't keep throwing money around. This is unbelievable. Ezra told me you'd take care of me, and now you're changing your tune. It's not about abandoning anyone. So you're just going to ditch me when I need help." "No, Karen, that's not it. I've helped out loads, but I can't mess up my own financial situation. And I have to be honest, I've noticed some things too. Like buying that microwave when the old one was perfectly fine. And on those trips to Target, you load up on stuff that you don't even need. We end up in expensive restaurants and malls in the name of spending quality time, and I end up paying for it every time. Well, I deserve to treat myself sometimes. You're just a selfish woman, Daisy. You're just like all those other people who turn their backs when things get tough. Well, you know what? Don't bother helping at all then. I don't need your selfishness in my life." And then she just hung up on me. I tried calling Karen multiple times, and I even got Ezra to give it a shot. When he finally got through to her, she straight up told him she didn't want to talk to me unless I was still handing out cash. I was genuinely shocked. It felt like she was just using me, like our relationship only mattered if I was giving her money. It felt like I was just a walking ATM to her. I found it really disrespectful, so I talked with Ezra. I told him that if she had such conditions to talk to me again, I didn't want to engage with her at all. I cut her out of my life just like that. Ezra still went to visit her, but she never bothered coming over to our place. Life moved forward, but after seeing her true colors, I wasn't exactly prepared for what came next. One day, Ezra went out to grab some pizza for dinner and left his phone behind. That thing started ringing nonstop. Normally, I wouldn't snoop around on his phone, and he didn't check mine either. We had this unspoken understanding. But I don't know what got into me that day. Curiosity, I guess. Thank goodness for that moment of curiosity, because when I picked up his phone, it was lighting up with calls from this person named Sally. If memory serves me right, Sally was his ex. I was beyond mad. How could Ezra be doing this, staying in touch with his ex and not telling me about it? My mind was racing. What else could they be up to? Were they hooking up behind my back? I took a deep breath, tried to calm down, and opened his phone. First, I checked if they had been texting each other. Nope, Not a single text. Then I went ahead and checked their call history. There was nothing there either, no outgoing calls, just the ones he recently received. So I thought I was overthinking it. Maybe Sally had some kind of emergency and needed to get in touch with Ezra. Yeah, that made sense. But I couldn't be sure. I knew I could have just straight up asked him about this mess. Instead, I took down Sally's number on my phone and waited for Ezra to get back. He showed up with dinner, and I kept my cool, acting like everything was peachy. But I didn't sleep at all that night. I had no clue how to handle this whole situation. Should I confront Ezra? Should I confront Sally? I was so stuck. So I figured, why not drop Sally a text from my phone just to see what's what? Hey, is this Sally? Yeah, who's this? I'm Daisy. I guess you might know me as Ezra's wife if you're aware he has one. Oh yeah, I know. What's up? You were calling Ezra yesterday. What for? Oh, nothing much. I just wanted to know if Ezra was free today. I thought he could babysit Connor for the day. I had some plans. Connor? Connor who? Our kid. Didn't you know? I hope this is a sick joke you're playing on me. Oh my God, you gotta be kidding me. He hasn't told you. Not a word. Wow. Yeah, we have a child together. It makes sense why he never let me come over. He told me you knew about this and didn't want me or Connor anywhere near you. I'm sorry he did you dirty. Are you there? I can't believe this. Thanks for letting me know. I couldn't believe what I had just read. I was completely shaking. I couldn't wrap my head around it. Ezra had a whole baby while I was here juggling our bills and even his mom's expenses. I was working my tail off all for a better future for us. I was giving him all of my love and support, and this is what he did to me. The whole day went by, and I was just waiting for him to get back from work. How the heck did things turn out like this? Angry doesn't even cover it. I was devastated. When Ezra finally walked in the door, I didn't waste a second. Ezra, we need to talk. I know what you've been keeping from me. What? What are you talking about? Don't play dumb, Ezra. I know about Sally and Connor. How did you find out? It doesn't matter how I found out. What matters is that you kept something this huge from me. How could you? Daisy, just listen. No, you listen. When did all of this happen? How old is Connor? Were you with me when this was going on? I need to know the truth. Ezra, the whole truth. Connor is almost 2 years old now. Well, me and Sally hooked up while you and I were dating. It was a mistake, a stupid one. It meant nothing. I had real feelings for you. Wow. While we were dating, you cheated on me. Did she tell you about the baby? Yeah, she did. When she found out she was pregnant, she told me she wanted to keep it and asked if I was in or not. And what did you say? Well, after that, I did see her for another 3 months, but then it hit me, Daisy. I realized that I loved you and that you were the one I wanted to be with. So I told her I'd be there for the kid, but that my heart was with you. So you saw her for 3 months while you were with me. Yeah, but that made me realize that I wanted you, and that's when I proposed to you. Wow. Let me get this straight. You are telling me that you proposed to me right after you were cheating on me for 3 months, and on top of that, you were hiding the fact that you had a child with her. You've got to be kidding me, Ezra. This is beyond immature. Oh my God, you and your shitty excuses. Just pack your bags and leave. I kicked Ezra out. He deserved it. My life felt like it had been turned upside down. I went ahead and got a divorce from him. I needed some time to heal, so I went over to my parents' place for a couple of months. They were incredibly supportive and showered me with love during that tough period. Family makes a difference in your darkest times. After spending those 2 months with them, I realized I needed to pick up the pieces and reconnect with my friends. My social life had taken a major hit, and while I wasn't completely over what had happened, I knew I couldn't stay in that low place forever. It's not easy bouncing back from a failed marriage. I decided it was time to start putting myself out there again. Slowly, I managed to get my life back on track. Hanging out with friends became a regular thing, and I even dipped my toes back into the dating scene. It didn't lead to much, just some disappointing dates and not much else, but I was trying. Then one day, my dad gave me a call with some surprising news. My grandma Janice from my dad's side had passed away. I used to spend a lot of time at her house when I was younger. Attending her funeral was tough, and then my dad gave me another piece of news. We went through Mom's will, and if something you should know, she left you $2 million. Oh wait, what? $2 million. Yeah, she thought a lot about you and always loved you. I don't even know what to say. That's a lot of money. She always cared about you a great deal. I knew she was going to do this. I was not entirely shocked. My family was well off and my grandparents were even wealthier. Being the only grandchild, I kind of knew this would happen at some point. I just didn't expect it to be this soon. After inheriting that unexpected sum, I was left with a lot of choices to consider. Suddenly, I had a huge amount of money and a whole world of possibilities laid out before me. Instead of diving into impulsive spending, I made one clear decision. I would sell my apartment and buy a house. I went ahead and signed the deal, getting myself a stunning new place. It was exciting, but it also meant I had to move out. There were still some of Ezra's things hanging around that had been untouched since he left. It was a chapter I needed to close, so I called him over. It was super weird when he showed up. We were both in this limbo of not knowing what to say. He packed his things, and just as he was making his exit, he finally broke the ice. "So you're moving out, huh?" "Yeah, finally making the jump." "Are you seeing someone new, or is it just you?" "It's just me. Got myself a house over on 12th Avenue. "Oh, nice. 12th Avenue, huh? That's some good real estate. It must have been an expensive purchase." "Yeah, it's a cool spot. I got a little boost from my grandma. She passed away and left me $2 million. "Wow, seriously? Well, good for you, and sorry about your grandma." "Yeah, thanks. Anyway, I've got to run." "Yeah, no problem." With all my stuff moved and the chapter closed, I settled into my new place. Life was looking up. Let's just say it was a pretty posh neighborhood. I made friends with my neighbors, and we used to enjoy wine together on the weekends. I even joined the local tennis club and started making some new friends. It was like a whole different upgrade. But then, one fine day, someone I never expected to face again showed up at my doorstep. I opened the door and there she was, Karen. I invited her in. "I'm sorry about everything that went down between us." "What are you doing here, Karen?" "Well, I heard about your inheritance and condolences for your grandma." "Seriously, why are you here, Karen?" "Daisy, let's try to put everything behind us. I want you to be a part of the family again." "Are you serious right now, Karen? You want me back in your life just because I have more money?" "I just want you to help me out." "Helping you out? What do you mean?" "I bought myself a car on loan as soon as I heard about what your grandma left you. Pretty expensive car, about $100,000. I needed something more comfortable, for my age." "Hold on a second. Are you out of your mind? Why would I even buy that for you? Who exactly are you to me? Look, I know we had our differences, but let's just keep this family together." "What family? Didn't Ezra tell you we got divorced 7 months ago?" "What? No, he didn't. He said you bought this house for Ezra and yourself." "Karen, your son had a child with another woman he was hiding from me, and I divorced him 7 months ago. Ezra didn't tell me any of this. If you guys are not together, where has he been living all this time?" "I don't know. Maybe ask your son." "I can't believe this." "Well, maybe believe it. And you know what's funny? Both of you are being selfish. You're here only because you need money, just like before, and Ezra has been lying to you and the whole world about God knows what. It's not like that, Daisy. How am I going to pay for the car? You can't leave me hanging like this." "Save it. I've had enough of this. Just leave, Karen. I don't want anything to do with you, your son, or your problems anymore." I basically showed Karen the door and gave her a piece of my mind. Seriously, I couldn't believe how greedy someone could be. And Ezra, man, that guy was a master liar. He'd been feeding his mom a load of BS about us being together. Like, where was he even crashing during that time? Who lies about stuff like that? I bought a house for both of us. What a joke. It's like he was playing make-believe. Ezra was acting like a kid, making up stories for his mom and who knows who else. It was just ridiculous. Later that day, I got some texts from Ezra. "Hey Daisy, I'm really sorry about my mom showing up like that. Can you just leave me alone? I'm disgusted by all your lies right now. How could you even lie about this to your mom? Did you conveniently forget to mention her grandchild? I know I messed up big time. I was crashing with Sally and Connor, and I told her I was with you. I didn't want her to think how big of a screw-up I am. Wow, my mom's pushing me to help pay off her car loan. I don't know what to do. Wow, really? Begging for help right now, huh? Pathetic. Why don't you ask your make-believe family for help? Daisy, please. I messed up. I'm desperate. Ezra, I'm not your knave wife you can manipulate anymore. Deal with your own mess. Goodbye. After that exchange, I decided to block Ezra's number from my phone. It's been a while since that whole drama went down, and honestly, I've never felt more relieved. It's almost like karma is doing its thing with Karen and Ezra. I have no idea if they managed to sort out that car loan mess, but they're getting their fair share of what they deserve. They treated me terribly, and now life's throwing it back at them. As for me, I'm living a good life. Oh, and guess what? I've even met someone new. And yes, I've learned my lesson. Background checks are a must now. You know what they say, you reap what you sow. My intentions were pure while theirs, well, not so much. You get what you put out in the universe. I'm Luna, 27 years old, and I'm head over heels in love with George, my dashing husband. We recently embarked on this exciting journey called marriage, and we're still basking in the honeymoon phase. It's been a roller coaster of emotions, but let me not get ahead of myself. Let me take you back to how it all began. George and I are not your average couple. We come from high-flying, wealthy families that belong to New York's elite. But please don't mistake me for a spoiled rich brat. I've got a story to tell that's about more than extravagant galas and designer gowns. Our paths first crossed at a glittering charity ball. Picture a grand ballroom adorned with chandeliers that could make stars jealous, guests dressed to the nines, and a tower of champagne flowing like a river. George, my tall, dashing beau, caught my eye from across the room. It was like a fairy tale. We got to know each other and fell head over heels in love. We had many similarities but were also quite different, especially in how we were raised. My parents always showered me with love, attention, and life advice. George's family, on the other hand, spoke a different language: money. His nanny practically raised him, and his parents missed more milestones than I've had hot dinners. But I'm not one to judge. Love can overcome a lot, right? Fast forward to our engagement day. George, being the smooth operator he is, whisked me away on a private jet to a secluded island. Imagine the sun setting, painting the sky with shades of orange and pink, George down on one knee with a ring. Of course, I said yes immediately. Our parents finally met, and it was like watching two worlds collide. At least they were polite to each other. Before we knew it, our wedding day was fast approaching. My fabulous bestie Cassie, my maid of honor, was a lifesaver, helping me tackle all the wedding prep madness. But then came the time to personally invite our parents, and that's where things got tricky. My parents lived abroad, so a quick visit wasn't practical. George's parents, however, were in the same city, New York City, living the high life in their penthouse on the Upper East Side. One fine day, George and I decided to visit his parents' penthouse. His dad, the business tycoon, was away on some important deal, so it was just us and his mom, Diana. Meeting Diana was always an adventure. She was a complex character, and I never quite knew where I stood with her. We had only met a couple of times before, and she hadn't been particularly nice to me. "Hi, Mom. It's been a while. How have you been?" George greeted her. "George, honey, and Luna. Nice of you to drop by." "I've been well, thank you. I brought your favorite macarons from that bakery downtown. Oh, and here's the wedding invitation. We know it's a formality since you'll obviously be coming, but we wanted you to have one." "Of the wedding, right?" she said, opening the invitation. "Is it on October 14th? "Yes, Mom. We're so excited." "Excited. I would love to come, but I'm sorry, I can't. I've had a trip to Florence planned for months. Flights, hotel bookings, the works. You get it, right? I can't bail out on a girl's trip, you know." "Mom, it's our big day. It would mean so much to us if you could be there." "George, I love you, but this trip is non-negotiable. We've missed other important events, like your graduation, and everything turned out fine." "Mom, it did, but we're talking about my wedding year. I'm your only child." I thought. "Yeah, I was so excited to have you there as well. You are my family too," I added. "Luna, please, this is not about you. It's about my plans, my life. I can't shuffle everything around for your wedding. Weddings are not really my thing. All that fuss, not my cup of tea. But I do wish you both happiness. Mom, can't you reconsider?" George pleaded. "I've made up my mind, George. I'm sorry. I hope you understand." I have always made it up to you, haven't I? Yeah, Mom, you have. I promise I will this time as well. I'll send your dad, though. Really? I'm glad he's going to be there. Have fun on your trip. Anyway, I was seriously ticked off as we left Diana's penthouse. She had bailed on George's life events more times than I could count, and now she was ditching her son's wedding for a girls' trip to Florence. That was a new level of unacceptable. George was crushed, and I knew him well enough to see it. He had been looking forward to having his family around for our big day, and her last-minute change of plans had shattered his excitement. Having known George for a long time, it was clear that his mom had always been a major letdown. She had this knack for making him believe she cared, but her actions screamed the opposite. It was like she used his love for her as leverage for her own gain. George had shared stories from his childhood that painted a pretty sad picture. From what he told me, she had manipulated him into thinking she was a caring mom, only to let him down over and over. I couldn't help but feel protective of George, knowing how deeply she'd hurt him. I wanted to make this day perfect for him. Later that night, after George finally fell asleep, I made a special phone call to Diana. "Luna, why on earth are you calling me at this hour?" she answered. "I called you because I wanted to personally invite you to our wedding. I am begging you, please be there for George. He has opened up to me several times about how he has felt let down by your absence in his life. He had that same look on his face today." "Oh wait, so now you're going to tell me what I did wrong while raising my son. Who do you think you are?" she snapped. "No, ma'am, that's not what I meant. I just thought being at the wedding would mean a lot to him. I'm not here to blame you or change the past. I just wanted to extend an invitation. First of all, stop calling me mom. Let alone a daughter-in-law. I can never even consider you a part of our family. I never even liked you. You are nothing compared to my son. He's handsome and smart, and you are, let's just say, you are not the brightest bulb in the box. I don't know how this happened. I love him, and he loves me. We're building our own life together, and we're happy. Oh, how touching. Love conquers all, right? Well, good luck with that fairy tale, Luna, because you'll be needing it." "What do you mean?" "Have your little wedding, Luna, but remember, you will always be an outsider in our family. You don't know what you're getting into. If you continue down this path, you will regret it, and there will be consequences. I'm willing to face whatever comes my way. Suit yourself, darling. Bye-bye." By then, I had pretty much given up on trying to patch things up with Diana. Her outright hostility was like nothing I had ever encountered. So I decided to keep our conversation to myself. No point in adding to George's pre-wedding jitters, right? I just played nice and pretended everything was all right. Over the next month, wedding preparations continued, and it felt, well, kind of weird. I could relate to those people who had to bite their tongues and put on a happy face even when they felt like screaming. It was like navigating uncharted territory where emotions simmered beneath the surface. We had to keep them locked up. Finally, the big day arrived, and we had our rehearsal dinner. We had booked an entire hotel for the week, so all our guests were staying there. Our rehearsal dinner and wedding ceremony were also held at the same hotel. Diana's absence was conspicuous, and I could feel the tension in the room. After all, it was supposed to be the groom and his parents who hosted the rehearsal dinner. Even though George's dad was there, people were exchanging puzzled glances, wondering why George's mother was missing on such an important occasion. But then Diana made her special appearance. I could not believe my eyes. Wasn't she supposed to be sipping wine in Florence? Yet there she was, striding up to George and me. Wow, isn't this a picture-perfect couple? Almost makes me believe in fairy tales. "Mom, what are you doing here? Weren't you supposed to be in Florence?" George asked, clearly surprised. "Well, I have to leave tomorrow morning, George. I'm sorry I won't be there for the wedding, but I couldn't possibly miss your rehearsal dinner while I was still here in the Big Apple. It's such a special occasion, after all." "Yes, it's great to have you here, Mom. This is Luna's best friend, Casey. Casey, this is my mother, Diana." "Nice to meet you, Diana," Casey said, trying to sound polite. Likewise, Diana replied, her tone chilly. "So, have you had a chance to explore the hotel? It's quite luxurious." "Oh, I have seen my fair share of luxury, Casey. This place is nothing special. By the way, George, can we talk for a moment?" "Luna, Casey, would you excuse us?" George and Diana walked a few steps away, leaving Casey and me standing awkwardly. "Your mother-in-law seems challenging," Casey remarked. "You have no idea, Casey. I don't even know what she's doing here, I replied, feeling the tension in my shoulders. Diana eventually left the hall, and I quickly asked George, where did she go? Oh, she needed to freshen up, so I gave her our room key, he replied. That freshening up came at a huge price. The next morning, the day of the wedding, was supposed to be all happiness and excitement. Instead, it felt like a scene from a disaster movie. My dreamy Vivienne Westwood wedding gown had vanished into thin air. I turned our suite upside down, hoping I would find it hiding somewhere. But no luck. Tears started flowing as I realized the horror of it all. My wedding dress had disappeared on the biggest day of my life. I had nothing to wear. Could anything be worse? I called my folks, who were just in the next suite, and told them everything. They promised to rush over and help. A text to George had to suffice, but it would be ages before he could check it, thanks to the whole no seeing each other before the ceremony rule. Casey stepped in, suggesting we hit the nearest bridal shop and grab whatever white dress was available. It wasn't my dream dress, but it was better than nothing. As I stood in the shop surrounded by pretty white gowns that weren't the one, a sinking feeling settled in. The replacement dress was nice, but it couldn't replace the one that had mysteriously vanished. While I got dressed, my mind started ticking. Deanna, my not-so-loving mother-in-law, had paid a visit the night before. I knew she didn't exactly adore me, and the idea struck me like a lightning bolt. Could she be behind the disappearing dress? It sounded just like something Diana would do, a parting shot before my big day. I couldn't prove it, but it was all too suspicious. One minute the dress was hanging there, and the next it was nowhere to be found. Diana was the only one who had been alone in our suite. I made a phone call to Diana. I was waiting for you to call, Luna, she answered, her voice dripping with false sweetness. What on earth did you do, Diana? Are you completely out of your mind? I did what I could to put a stop to this wedding. You're absolutely crazy. Do you realize how mad George is going to be when he finds out about this? George can't marry you, Luna. I will not allow it. George is going to marry me today, Diana, no matter what you do. Nothing can change that. This was just my first attempt, Luna. Be prepared. You keep saying that, Diana, but it will not make a difference. I must have done something right for George to choose me. I cannot believe he is marrying a woman like you. Well, believe it because it's happening today. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a wedding to attend. Despite Diana's ridiculous antics, nothing could ruin our joy. Our wedding was like a fairy tale. Seriously, everything was perfect. Flowers were everywhere. George looked dashing, and I walked down the aisle in the last-minute gown that, I must admit, looked pretty darn amazing. My dad walked me down the aisle, and George shed a few tears. Our vows were heartfelt, promising a lifetime of love, support, and obsession with each other. As we exchanged rings, it hit me that this was the beginning of our epic adventure together. Then came the reception, a big fancy shindig with champagne flowing like there was no tomorrow. We danced, our friends and family gave the sweetest toasts, and the room was just bursting with love. After all the partying, George and I headed to our honeymoon suite. Alone at last, we couldn't help but grin like a couple of love-struck goofballs. We were officially married, and it felt so good. We were going to go on our honeymoon a month later because George had some work commitments, which was fine by me. I hadn't told George about his mom's trick. I wanted to deal with Diana when her little vacation was over. A few days after our picture-perfect wedding, George was back at work dealing with his usual commitments while I was chilling at home, soaking in that newlywed bliss. Life was pretty sweet. But then, out of the blue, my phone rang. I glanced at the caller ID, and of course, it was Diana. Now that was one call I definitely hadn't seen coming. Luna, honey, it's Diana. I've made a terrible mishap. I got pickpocketed here in Florence of all places. I lost my passport. My friends have all flown out, and I'm stuck here alone. Your dad is a diplomat here in Italy, right? He was talking about it at the rehearsal dinner. Can you help me, my dearest? We are all family, after all. I'm sure your dad can pull some strings. What family, Diana? Diplomat or not, it does not change the fact you made it pretty clear I'm not your family. Remember all those lovely things you said to me before our wedding. Luna, please, I'm desperate here. My friends have left me all alone to figure this out on my own. I promise I'll make it up to you somehow. You know I can be difficult, but I'm still George's mother and your mother-in-law. I love you as my own. This is the sweetest lie I have ever heard. You are his mother, all right. Family does not treat each other the way you treated me. You missed our wedding for a silly fun trip that you take 6 times a year, made an appearance at our rehearsal dinner just so you could steal my dress and ruin my wedding. And now you want my help when it is convenient for you? Sorry, Diana, but I am not feeling particularly charitable right now. Luna, I admit I have made mistakes, but you are the only one who can help me. I need to get back to New York. I have things to attend to. You are so selfish. You're not even genuinely sorry, I bet. I'm sorry, Diana, I'm not helping you. Goodbye. Just in case I forgot to mention, my dad is indeed a diplomat in Italy, and I'm half Italian. I grew up in Rome, but moved to New York City for school and have been here ever since. But helping Diana? Nah, that was not in my cards. I was kind of anxious about George coming back because that would mean I had to tell him everything. As I sat in our living room fidgeting with the hem of my dress, my mind raced. George was due home any minute, and I could not avoid the truth any longer. I knew he would not be mad at me, but at the same time, I didn't know how he would take so much news since the wedding day all at once. When George finally got home, I told him everything. George, I've been meaning to tell you something. Oh, what is it, Luna? Your mom, she was the one who stole my wedding dress. She admitted to it herself. The thing is, she doesn't like me. She didn't want me to be a part of the family. It was right before the wedding, and I was devastated. She just wanted to ruin everything for me. Luna, I'm so sorry about my mom's behavior. That's just unacceptable. I can't believe she would do something like that. She tried to ruin it not just for you but for both of us. Don't worry, babe. I'm going to deal with this whenever she comes back. There's something else, George. What is it? Your mom called me today. Her passport has been stolen, and she wanted to get here as soon as possible. She asked for help from my dad. What did you say? I'm sorry, George, but I could not say yes to help her after what she did. It just didn't feel right. You know what, Luna? She deserves it. I'm glad you did that. She can deal with her own problems, no matter how much time it takes. We're not helping her. She needs to learn that her actions have consequences. We're not going to bail her out. After the whole drama, George and I finally got to enjoy our European honeymoon. We packed our bags and traveled across the continent, soaking in the sights and sounds of romantic cities. Paris, Venice, Rome, you name it, we were there, making memories that would last a lifetime. We even visited my parents in Rome. It was a sweet treat. One day, while sipping coffee at a cute cafe in Paris, we got a text from George's dad. It was a message from Diana. She was texting from her husband's phone. She had miraculously made it back home after 2 months. Talk about good timing. George had a good laugh about it, and honestly, we couldn't care less. When we got back home, Diana tried to reach out, hoping for reconciliation, but George and I were like, thanks, but no thanks. We stuck to our guns and focused on our own happiness. We decided it was best to keep our distance. 4 months into our married life, and here we are, stronger than ever. George and I have become quite the dynamic duo. We've grown, cried, laughed, and supported each other through thick and thin. Our love story is not some fairy tale. It's real, it's messy, and it's uniquely ours. My name is Crystal, and I don't have anyone in this world, so I'm sharing my story here. I've watched my husband transform into a monster. I don't know how many of you have successful love stories, but I envy those who married their soulmates and are now living their best lives. I thought I was marrying my soulmate, Seth, but I was wrong. Seth and I got married out of love. We both had stable jobs and a good relationship before our wedding. However, after we got married, Seth suddenly quit his job without consulting me. He said, "Look, Crystal, I was getting depressed and burnt out at my last job, so I needed to quit. I'll apply for a new job soon, but I need a break. You'll have to support us till then." I'm sorry you're feeling down, Seth, but you should have consulted me or at least told me you were going to quit. I needed a heads up, I replied. It's not a big deal, Crystal. It's just for a few months. After that, things will go back to normal. Things never went back to normal. I took on 2 jobs to support us while Seth sat at home and played games all day. He didn't even take care of the house. After months of struggling, paying rent became nearly impossible. We were forced to ask for help from his parents, Cole and Olivia. They were furious when they found out Seth had quit his job. Seth, what is wrong with you? You're getting back to your old habits again. This is unacceptable, Cole said. What do you mean, Cole? Seth is a hard-working man. I always knew him that way. This situation is an exception. He hasn't been doing well mentally, I tried to explain. You don't know everything, Crystal. Seth has done this multiple times. He quits his jobs and then expects us to take care of him. Last time, we threatened to cut him off if he didn't get a decent job. We forced him to go back to work. After that, he met you, and we thought he had genuinely changed. Now we see he's back to his old ways. He says he's depressed and has visited many therapists. They all said there was nothing wrong with him. He was just playing us for free money. I was shocked. In the 2 years we were together before marriage, Seth was a consistent worker. He never did anything like this. This only started after the wedding. Seth tried to defend himself, saying, "Dad, you saw that I changed my ways. This is really an exceptional situation. We just need a little help for the time being. I'll find a job soon." You better stick to your word, Seth. We won't have you mooching off your wife. She's a good girl and deserves happiness. We'll let you stay at one of our properties for free, but you have to promise to get a job soon. We'll kick you out if you continue this charade. Thank you so much. Seth will work on his problems, I assure you. Thank you for helping us until then, I said gratefully. Seth promised his parents he would find a job, but he never did. Instead, he lied to them about getting a job while I worked myself to the bone to support our family. I kept quiet because I loved him and didn't want to pressure him. Slowly, our finances deteriorated. I was barely making ends meet, yet Seth continued to waste his time and even berated me when I failed to bring in more money. He warned me not to take days off to avoid missing a day's wage. I was exhausted and isolated from everyone. Seth hated it when I went out with friends. I was foolish and madly in love, so I stayed like this for a year. Yes, for an entire year. I worked like a slave and reduced myself to nothing. One day, I had enough and took a day off from both jobs. When Seth saw that I didn't go to work, he yelled, "Why the hell are you home, Crystal? You should be at work making money." I took the day off, Seth. I will die if I keep working like this. This is unacceptable. Who the hell told you that you can take a break? I warned you about this, Crystal. Still, you didn't listen to me. How can you be so cruel, Seth? For a whole year, I worked like a slave while you enjoyed my money. You isolated me from my friends because you didn't want me going out and spending money. This is hell, Seth. I deserve a day off and I will go out. You will have to deal with it. I ran out of the house, crying because I was hurt. I just needed to get away from him. I roamed around the city and did a little window shopping. I didn't have much money to buy anything. The past year, I lost most of the money I had saved because of Seth. I was truly getting frustrated with him. He had stopped showing me affection a long time ago. All he did now was yell at me about wasting time or not bringing in enough money. I really didn't know what to do. After being out for most of the day, I returned home in the evening. I walked up to the house and tried to unlock the door with my key. The lock turned, but the door didn't open. I realized it was bolted from the inside. I was confused and decided to knock. I knew Seth was home, but he didn't answer. After a while, I started to shout, "Seth, open the door. I'm waiting outside. It's freezing out here, and I'll catch a cold. I'm not going to open the door." "What? Are you joking or something? Seth, this is not funny. Open the door. You think you can disrespect me and ignore my warnings? That will never happen, Crystal. You need to be taught a lesson so you never do this again. I'm not letting you into the house tonight. You can stay outside or wherever you come from." "What the hell are you talking about, Seth? Are you locking me out because I took a day off from work? This is ridiculous. Let me in." "Knock all you want, Crystal. I'm not letting you in. Consider this a lesson. I don't want you to repeat this behavior ever again." Seth ignored me. He didn't open the door and stopped responding to my calls. I kept pounding on the door and calling him, but I got no answer. I was starting to freeze and didn't know what to do. Like a fool, I decided to wait a little, hoping his anger would dissipate. I thought Seth wouldn't be so cruel as to lock me out of the house. I was wrong. I sat there for 2 hours before I realized how abusive my husband had become. At that point, I felt completely alone. Seth had isolated me from my friends, and I didn't have any family in the state. I didn't know where to take shelter for the night. The cold was creeping in, and I started to shake from the chills. After thinking for a while, I decided to seek help from the only two people I knew well enough. I got into my car and drove straight to my in-laws' house. They were my only hope in this horrible situation. I knew they were good people and would help me out at least a little. I raced to their house and knocked on the door. Cole opened it and was surprised to see me. After letting me in, he said, "Hey, Crystal, what's the matter? Why are you crying? Oh my God, you poor thing. Is Seth okay? Why did you come alone?" Seth locked me out of the house. I was sitting outside for 2 hours before I drove here. What the hell, Crystal? Why did he lock you out? What kind of prank is this? Don't tell me he's getting influenced by all those videos he watches. No, Cole, he wasn't pranking me. He locked me out because I took a day off work. He doesn't like it when I take a break. I've been working 2 jobs to support us. I was feeling burned out, so I went window shopping for a day. It's not like I can buy anything. I don't have money. What in the world, Crystal? Why are you working 2 jobs? Seth has been telling us that he is earning well enough for both of you. He even said he's asking you to leave your job and take a break. He's been lying to you guys. He never got a job after he left his last one. I don't think he even sent any applications. He's been pestering me for money, so I had to take up 2 jobs. He gets upset when I take a leave because it means I'll get less money next month. I started to cry and poured my heart out to his parents. I knew he had been keeping them in the dark. I supported his lies because I didn't want them to disown him. Like an idiot, I loved a man who didn't even care about me. My pain and shame became too much to handle. I broke down, and Seth's parents were horrified to learn their son had become abusive towards me. They were even more furious than I was. Cole started to curse out loud while Olivia quietly patted my back. When I finished crying, Cole said, "Crystal, don't worry. You are not alone. We are going to get you out of this situation. I can't believe our son has turned into a monster. I wonder where we went wrong with him. This is horrible. Crystal, please don't cry. We will figure out something, I promise." I don't know what to do, guys. Truth be told, I don't even want to be in the same house as him. I don't know where to go. Don't worry about that, Crystal. We'll take care of it. Let's go back to the house. I'll go with you. It's time we teach Seth a lesson he'll remember, Cole said. Cole and I went back to our house. Olivia stayed behind because she was sure she would slap Seth if she saw him. We knocked at the door, and Seth didn't open. I heard him scream that he wasn't letting me in. "Seth, open the door. It's been 3 hours already. How much longer are you going to punish me?" "As long as I want, Crystal. You didn't listen to me when I told you not to take a break. Now I'm not going to listen to you. See what it feels like." "You are insane, Seth. I took a break for 1 day, 1 freaking day. That doesn't mean I deserve to spend so many hours outside. You deserve to spend the night outside if you were so desperate for a break. You can stay out and take as much time as you need. I am not opening the door. You can keep knocking. Seth, open the damn door right now. Open it, or God help me, I will break this door down." After Cole called out to him, there was immediate silence. Seth knew he had messed up. He opened the door once he heard his father's voice. When he saw the 2 of us, he got even more nervous. His dad looked rather scary with a mean frown on his face. "Hey, Dad. What brought you here? You didn't say you would stop by," Seth said nervously. "Drop the chit-chat, Seth. Tell me, who the hell are you to lock my daughter-in-law out of the house? Did you forget that I own the place you live in?" "Dad, it's not like that. I was just pranking Crystal." "It's not what you think. We were just joking around, right, Crystal?" "It is exactly what you think, Cole. Seth kicked me out of the house because I took a day off work. He has been working me to the bone while spending my money and sitting around at home." "Seth, why the hell is Crystal telling me that you left your job without consulting her? I let you stay here on the condition that you would work on yourself for your family. Why am I hearing this about you?" At this point, Seth knew he was cornered. His lies were unraveling, and he had nowhere to hide. My pride would never let me tell people about my useless husband, but he underestimated the power of a woman who has been abused for too long. I wasn't going to sit idle and take his abuse anymore. I was going to ruin him. Still, Seth tried his best to save himself. "Dad, it's not like that. I swear. I'm looking for jobs. It's just taking time. You know how bad the job market is right now. I've sent so many applications, but I haven't heard back yet." "Oh, really? Well, why don't you show me all the job applications you've sent then? We will decide if you are telling the truth. Why do you need to see proof? Don't you believe your own child? This is ridiculous. I don't need to show you any proof. I'm telling you I have sent numerous applications. No, Seth hadn't sent any applications. I knew that very well. He never tried to get another job after he quit his last one. He planned to sit on his butt and spend my money. Even Cole could understand that his son was up to no good. There was no way Seth was speaking the truth. Since Seth wasn't going to say anything, I spoke up. He hasn't sent out any applications, Cole. That's why he isn't showing you the proof. A work position opened at my office and I told him to apply. He didn't and instead screamed at me about how dare I tell him what to do. Seth, your mother and I allowed you to stay here only if you turned your life around. You fooled us into thinking you got a job and were contributing to your family. Now I see you're making Crystal work for both of you while you do nothing but spend money. Since you didn't hold up your end of the bargain, I'm going to evict you from the house. What? Dad, no, please don't do that. Where will we go? You can't just kick us out like that. Crystal, look what you've got us into now. We'll both lose the roof over our heads. There is no point shouting at her, Seth. This is your doing, Cole said sternly. Cole, Crystal will come to stay with us or at this house. You are the one who is getting kicked out. You don't have to worry about where Crystal is going to stay. Dad, this is unfair. Crystal and I are a couple. You can't separate us. You can't separate a married couple for God's sake. I go where my wife goes, and that's final. If Crystal wants to stay married to me, she has to take me where she goes. Yeah, well, in that case, I won't stay married to you anymore. I made that decision a while back, Seth. There is no way I'm going to continue this marriage. I will be divorcing you. Seth was dumbstruck by what I said. He didn't expect 2 blows in one night. All his life, he used the people around him to fund his expenses to some extent. For the last year, he managed to throw all his responsibilities on others. He expected life to go on like that. However, that was not going to happen. His parents and I were going to stand up for ourselves. Seth understood that he had just nuked his life at that point. He suddenly changed his demeanor. He cried and begged me not to leave him. Crystal, don't do this. You can't be serious. You're throwing away so many years of our relationship for a small mistake. Look, I know I shouldn't have locked you out, but it was just one day. We can work this out. No, it wasn't one day, Seth. You have been financially abusing me for the past year. You drained my savings and left me with nothing. You didn't even help with house chores and complained when I asked. 1 year of this torture is enough, Seth. Not anymore. I am leaving. Crystal, you're being unreasonable. We can talk this out. Fine, I will start applying for jobs tomorrow. I'm sure I'll find something soon. Once I get a job, we can go to therapy and fix this, right? I know you well enough to know that you will not do any of that. I suggested all those things last year. You ignored me and called me names every time. I know that if I listen to you now, you will act like you have changed but then go back to how things are now. Dad, please help me convince Crystal. See, I'm willing to change, but she's not listening to me at all. I didn't file for divorce straight away. Why? Because I needed Seth to get back on his feet to avoid alimony. Seth would be forced to find work once the month was up, and he would have to move. Until then, he could enjoy half of whatever I had in our joint account. I transferred half of the funds into my own account and left him with half, and I promised myself not to send any funds into that account again. Seth tried his best to convince me to return to him. He showed up at his parents' place multiple times to get us to forgive him. We didn't, of course. In fact, this time his mother verbally attacked him for being such a deadbeat. She even called him a poor excuse of a man. Seth was crying and begging for forgiveness. It was truly glorious. The month passed and Seth was forced to move out of the house. He tried to fight the move, which led to his parents almost calling the cops. I guess Seth found it hard to believe that his parents were actually kicking him out. Anyway, since then, he had been couch surfing with his friends but had to get a job, of course. Who would host him for free day after day? Everyone knew about his bad habits of becoming a parasite on others. Seth couldn't find a good job but made do. As soon as he moved into a place, I filed for divorce. The process was easy because Seth didn't have any money for a lawyer. He resigned to his fate and let us get divorced. I wasn't giving him any alimony because our income difference wasn't much. I left one of my jobs because I no longer needed to support another person. Plus, his parents were hosting me for free, which let me build back my savings as well. We split amicably because we didn't have the means to fight. He apologized to me multiple times, but I didn't forgive him. I'm now living in a 2-bedroom apartment with a roommate. Things are picking up for me. I visit Olivia and Cole since they have become my family as well. They are also refusing to forgive Seth, and it doesn't look like their relationship will ever go back to normal. Who's at fault here now? Crystal is doing the right thing by divorcing you. You don't have the right to hold her back. Her logic is completely on point. She's a good girl, and I don't want her to waste her life with an abusive man like you anymore. Crystal, you know what? You can come over to our place and stay there until Seth is kicked out. I'll wait here while you pack your bags. I took the chance and went straight to my room to get my stuff. As promised, Cole waited for me downstairs while Seth tried to make him change his mind. To be honest, I didn't trust Seth anymore, and staying with him in this house after the confrontation would be too risky, so I took Cole's offer to stay with them. I could hear Seth shouting and crying downstairs. Cole was passive to everything and waited quietly for me. I got my stuff and went downstairs. Seth tried to physically block me with his body. That's when Cole shouted at him about calling the police. Seth got scared and let me go. Back at my in-laws' place, Olivia took one look at us and immediately hugged me. For some reason, her tender move brought me back to tears. It had been ages since someone held me like that or showed me any bit of affection. It made me realize how much I lost by marrying Seth. His own parents loved me more than he did. Olivia brought me into the house and assured me that I could stay with them as long as I wanted. So I decided to stay there for the time being.